Hello and welcome to another episode of Mark and Mark in the Morning.
BSN Homeroom.
Okay, so our last episode we talked pretty much was our part one where we talked about, backing up, archiving, your grade center, making sure that you have everything backed up because it's the end of the year. And now we're ready to clean up. We're ready to get rid of the old stuff.
Everything's backed up, so we're not afraid about losing anything.
Yeah.
Now we can start.
Yeah. We want to actually get rid of, all the assignments that were turned in, all the tests, get rid of the users, announcements, all those things that applied to last year. We want to clean up our course so it's fresh and ready to go for next year.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so Blackboard has a way of what we call bulk deleting items.
Yes.
So you don't have to go in and remove each announcement. You don't have to go in and delete all your messages.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, individually remove each user and so forth.
Yeah.
So it has a batch bulk delete option. So let's check that out, Mark.
All right, well, let's do that. I'm going to dive right in. And you'll find this tool down in the control panel.
Yep.
Under Packages and Utilities.
Same place where we found the archive in export.
In the last episode.
Yep, in the last episode.
Good point. And you'll find there's a bulk delete option, so it allows you to delete things in bulk.
In bulk. Again, warning, warning. Warning, warning.
I always say if you feel stressed or you worry when you see the word delete, make sure you indulge that stress. It's a good stress that you should have. You should be afraid to delete things.
So basically, Mark, if you're saying that if I delete my Unit 1, I'm going to delete all my content that I put in there.
So in this course, with 3 content areas, one is Unit 1, there might be 30 lessons in there, and a bunch of tests and all that kind of stuff.
I don't want to delete that.
I check that. It will delete it, and you will not be able to get it back easily.
Please don't check that, Mark.
So
I definitely don't want to delete any of my content.
So I should not click submit then?
No.
Hovering over the button.
So basically, your content area, we're pretty much telling you never check any of that.
Pretty much. I mean, unless you want to.
Unless you don't want to use a unit anymore. Maybe you created a unit 8 that's on something that you're not teaching anymore and you don't want it anymore, but we're still not fans of that. We're saying just turn it off. You never know when you might need it.
Hit the double down by Unit 1 and just hide it. That way the students won't see it.
Delete's permanent.
Delete is permanent. There's no undo here.
Okay, so let's get down to part 2 because there's some things in here that we definitely want to remove and there's some things that we definitely don't want to remove. How about it, Mark? So we really need to think about this. So, like for example, announcements.
Yeah.
Let's think about that.
Yeah, time sensitive, applies to last year, it's going to have dates in it about last year.
Get rid of those.
You can get rid of all your announcements in one go. Even if you've got 200 announcements, you just check that box and you click submit, all your announcements are gone and you're ready for next school year.
Well, users, that kind of makes sense. I want to delete those too because they were the previous year's kids and I'm going to be enrolling new kids next year, so I don't want the old kids in my course anymore.
Right, so as long as you've got final grades and they're all done, again, check that box, all the users go.
Correct.
All their attempts, all their grades, it clears everything out.
Groups, probably not. I probably want to keep my groups. If I'm using grouping in my class, I probably use the same type of groups. Probably keep the same names the same and so forth, whatever it may be. So I probably want to keep my group names. Again, when I remove the users, it will remove the people out of those groups, obviously. So the groups will be just there, and I can always assign students to a group.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Discussion boards.
Well, there we need to be careful.
Yes.
Because what tends to happen is the assumption you make here is that if I bulk delete my discussion boards, it deletes the threads inside the discussion boards.
No, it actually deletes the boards.
It deletes the discussion boards
and the threads
themselves. It does everything. So be careful, and this is true of all the collaboration tools. If you bulk delete a discussion board, journal, blog, wiki, it will completely remove the journal, blog, wiki discussion board.
And you'll have to recreate those discussion boards. And if you have links in your content area to that discussion board, you'll have to recreate all those links too. And this is really kind of a little pet peeve with you and I. We don't like the way Blackboard's doing this, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this because it's a real pain.
Yeah, and if you delete them, like let's say you have a journal, and let's say you have 50 lessons in your course, and every lesson they post to the same journal. So you've gone in and linked that journal to all 50 lessons, make it nice and easy for the students. If you delete that journal, all those links break, and you have to go in and recreate every single link. So be really, really careful with the collaboration tools.
We're pretty much saying from the bulk delete option, you do not want to actually delete any of your collaboration tools in most cases. So that is true about the discussion boards, that is true about their blogs and your journals and so forth. And you'll notice wikis even there.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They forgot about that one. Now the next one, tests, surveys, and polls. This is one that we basically say no, no, no.
Again, I've seen people think that if they select that, it will clear the students' grades on their tests.
No.
They will delete the tests. Remember, it's bulk delete.
That's right.
Okay, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Same thing here, I think, again, right?
Do not, yeah, if you actually have a test deployed or an assignment in your content area and you remove the grade center item, well, basically, then your assignment has nowhere to be turned into.
Yeah, and again, some people make the assumption here that I'm clearing my students' grades.
No, you're just you're keeping the columns the way they are. You probably want to keep them that.
And that happens with users. When you recycle the users, it clears the grades.
Yes,
so you are doing that already. Yeah. Okay.
Now, the statistics is one that I definitely highly suggest that you do a bulk delete, right, Mark? So basically, the statistics are basically adding up and calculating all the clicks that occurred in your course and so forth from basically the beginning of the year. Of the school year since the last time you cleared those statistics. So we say every year you should probably clear those. In fact, maybe even before the beginning of the year, go back in and do a bulk delete of just statistics so that starting on the very first day of your class.
Right. And the rule of thumb with statistics is that the less statistics there are, the quicker the reports run.
Correct.
So that's why we're saying, get just the statistical time that you need, and that way the reports will run more quickly.
Glossary, probably not. I mean, if I'm teaching a certain class, I use the same vocabulary, same terms. You probably don't want to delete those. Again, blogs and journals, we talked about that. Discussion boards, you probably do not want to do any of your collaboration stuff.
Messages.
Messages, probably yes, because the messages that were sent back and forth were within those students in those classes, and they're time sensitive. So those you probably want to check. So really, we're saying that you should pretty much check 4 things here. The other things you probably don't want to.
Yeah. So announcements, users, statistics, messages. Correct. You'll be safe if you do that. Anything beyond that, you're going to delete. So now it does try to make sure that you definitely do what you want to. So you have to type the word delete. It also has to have a capital D at the beginning.
Yes, it's like a password.
No, and then even after that, when you click submit, a little message pops up. Again, are you sure? And remember, delete and embrace the stress of delete. Make sure you definitely want to do it. Another final check. Then when you're happy, click the OK and it's all gone.
Yeah. So bulk delete is really great, but again, you want to make sure that you're deleting the things you want to delete. So be very careful because you are deleting multiple things within your course.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go into more detail, you think, on the collaboration
tools? I think what we really need to do is you probably don't want to delete all your discussion boards, blogs, and journals because then you'd have to recreate them and relink them within your course. That's a lot more work. Right. So let's talk about maybe how we want to clean some of these things up. So you can see that I actually have in the discussion board a discussion board on the next president, who's going to be the next president. Right. And you can see then with inside there all the threads. Yeah. One of the great things about the discussion boards, it makes it very easily to actually delete all the threads in all the content without the board. You have a checkbox at the top. Simply check that, which will automatically check everything.
Check all.
And then you can delete and basically clear that out with just one click.
Yep. So the only downside of the discussion boards is if you've got, say, 10 discussion boards, you have to do a select all delete in all 10 discussion boards.
Correct.
But I mean, 10 minutes maybe, and your class is
not even. We're talking, if you had 10 discussion boards, it's less than a minute apiece.
It's pretty quick.
That's pretty quick. However,
so let's take a look at journals.
Yeah, the blogs and the journals, this is something that really they need to, I think, really address in the near future.
Yeah, there's essentially no way to mass delete entries in blogs or journals. Yeah. The only way to do it is literally to go to every response, hit the double down, and delete.
Well, actually, we have 4 workarounds.
We have some workarounds. Yeah, so this is the way you do it. The question is, can we make this happen more quickly?
Yeah. So basically, workaround number 1 is you go into each student, and let's say they had 10 postings. In this case, they only have 1 posting. Right. But if they posted to this journal 10 times, I'd have to go into each student and do all 10 manually. And if I had, let's say, 100 students, well, you can do the math on that one. That's a lot of clicking, and that's a lot of time, Mark.
That's 1,000 clicks.
Yeah, I need something a little bit faster. And again, there isn't a fast way, but there are workarounds. Workaround number 1 is this way, manually, you do it.
Right.
What would be maybe even a better way, Mark, another workaround?
Well, the one that you could do, and this is if you don't do a lot of linking of your collaboration tools, is you could just delete the journal.
Correct.
Yeah, just go in, delete, you would actually go down to Control Panel, you go to Class Tools and Journals, and just delete the journal and then recreate it.
Correct.
That will clear everything out. But be careful. If you've got that journal linked to 50 lessons, you need to recreate all those links.
And again, I know myself, I'm a person who likes to put links to the journal when I want them to write in that journal.
Yeah.
And so by linking to that journal, I have that all throughout my course. And if I delete that journal, I break all those links, which means if I do have that link, let's say 50 times within my course, then I have to go in and recreate 50 more links, not only plus recreate the journal or blog, either one.
This workaround really applies to those of you that put the journals and the discussion boards out of the class menu.
Correct.
So every time a kid posts to their journal, they go to the journal entry class menu, they go into the journal. It would work for people like that, but it wouldn't work for people who do it less.
Do the linking. And if you're a linking type of person, what's the other workaround then, Mark?
One of my preferred workarounds is just get the students to do it.
Correct.
Let
the students do the work before you do the bulk delete, though.
So this has always worked for me in the past. You know, if, for quick creation or quick deletion, you got 25 students, you can create 25 things in one go.
Correct.
So what you would do in that case is you're going to modify some of the options on your collaboration tool. So again, you go into class tools, go into journals, blogs, whichever one you're going to, just double down and edit, and just turn on the ability for the students to delete their entries. It's down here at the bottom. You can just turn that on, allow users to edit, delete entries. Do this maybe last day of the year, something like, or, you know, last day of class, I guess would be more appropriate.
Take them down to the lab and say, hey, delete all your entries.
Hey, go in, find your entry, double down, delete. And you'd be amazed how quickly it cleans out.
Yeah, let the students do that. And again, we're not a big fan of turning on deletion, at least when you're using the blogs and the journals. But at the end of the year, modify that, turn it on, let the students do the work. So instead of you doing it the tens of thousands of times, you basically farm that out to the students.
Usually you'll end up with, you know, maybe one student left during the year, or maybe one kid doesn't follow the directions. You'll end up with 2 or 3 students you need to clean out yourself, and that's about it. So now then remember, once you're all done, go back in and turn the deletion off again.
That's correct, yeah, for the next year's students.
Exactly, so that's a workaround, sort of. So that's true really predominantly of what? Journals, blogs, and then wikis are to a certain extent
now,
like that.
Wikis are a little bit different now. There is one fourth workaround for at least the journals and the blogs, is that don't remove them.
I guess that is a workaround.
I mean, it's a slight workaround because with indexing, because both your journals and blogs index, those things would all be indexed. They wouldn't show up then next year anyhow, although they could go into the indexing of the past.
They could find past postings.
Yeah.
So I guess that depends on your assignment. If your assignment has like a solid answer to it, probably not going to work. But if it's just reflections, in a way, it might be kind of cool.
Yeah, we don't suggest that workaround personally, but I mean, it is an option. Just let it go, and of course, depending on what you have chosen, either a weekly or a monthly indexing, they'll be indexed, and of course, it'll look blank, but those postings will be there. The people will not show up on the left-hand side of your blogs or journals either as a teacher, because again, they've been removed from the course, but their postings will still be there.
The postings will be there, and for the name, it will say anonymous. It will remove the student's name when you remove the user from the class. So.
And of course, we've put in suggestions to Blackboard for this. So this is hopefully they're going to listen to some of our suggestions, and there'll be some better ways. The wikis, a little bit different. If you do go into a wiki, again, the wikis are in pages, so they don't index. You have the option of you, the teacher, removing each page to keep the wiki intact. Or again, modify your options. Well, actually, you don't have to modify the options because teachers or students can actually delete the pages. You can have the students go in and delete pages.
Yeah, so that's totally up to you. So you might want to keep maybe a home page, but delete the additional pages or something like that. Yeah, so it is doable. Just might take a little bit of time.
Yeah,
but
get the kids to do the work. That's what I always say.
That's my theory.
Well, hey, again, I hope you enjoy the summertime and the end of the year. You have time to clean your course up, get everything ready. Remember, make sure that you do archive and back up your grade center before doing it. Remember, watch part 1.
Back up first.
Back up first.
Delete second.
Then delete second.
Very important.
Yeah, and when you're doing the bulk delete, please make sure that you answer some questions in your head. Is it time-sensitive material, or is this content
that's
going to be? Yes. So thanks again for watching another episode of Mark and Mark in the Morning.
BSN Homeroom.
Have a great summer.